I'm so excited about my new stencils for the Crafters Workshop. This is Balzer Designs 2020 stencils that I made this little book. So the first stencil is called Explosion, and that's exactly what it looks like. There's a flower at the center, and it looks like the petals have sort of exploded all over with these little dots. And this is great for an overall background. It's also great for creating texture, and of course you can use each of the petal shapes or the dots separately to create really interesting effects. Next up is a stencil called Dendritic. So this is based on, and Google this definitely if you haven't. I did some dendritic printing and I loved the way that it looked, and I wanted to find a way to sort of replicate that texture. So you can see here, that's what the stencil is, and I love it both in the small and the large size. I also think that it would work really well for anything that has to do with sea or ocean or anything like that. Next up is the shape landscape. So again, it works great as an overall background, but I'm huge on patterns. And lately when I'm doing any kind of abstract art or trying to create a background around a portrait, I've been really into using simple shapes like lines, dots. Punchinella is one of my favorite. I love this kind of broken up chevron with the triangles, and then these plus signs are one of my go-tos. So I love that you can use this stencil either in pieces or all together. It works both ways. Next up is Fantasy Tile. So this is 100% based on real tile. Well, not real tile. Real tile I tried to design. I tried to design some tile for myself and I made a stencil, but it was a DIY project that didn't work out. So I decided just to turn the stencil into something that I could use, and it really does repeat and tile beautifully, so you can create huge overall patterns. Old Circle Grate is exactly what it sounds like. They sure don't make things like they used to. So I saw a beautiful grate, and it was just like a sewer grate, but it was so decorative. I fell in love with it and I wanted to play around with that. So that's what this is. And you can see that this is just a part of the stencil, but it really is a fantastic looking piece. It has all that sort of grunge feeling to it, all these little bits and pieces, and it's just a way also of doing a mandala. So if you want to create your own kind of coloring book look or anything like that, this is a great stencil for that. Here is the Circle Jumble. This is one of the masks that's in this collection, and I really love masks for gel printing, which is exactly what this is. This is gelatin plate printing, and you can see how it's got lots of dashes and plus signs and circles and all those things that I love, and it is super fun to use in conjunction with your gel plate. I know you're not supposed to have favorites, but this might be my favorite. It's called Cutouts. And you can see it has these large organic shapes, 100% inspired by an experience I had several years ago with Matisse's cutouts. They're just so beautiful and wonderful, and I wanted to design my own version of that. So you can see here, they almost look skeletal in some ways that I think are really cool, but this is a stencil that has a major impact. In fact, I even used it for both the front and the back covers of this little book. I loved it so much. And last but not least is Dash V. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different patterns to choose from. And my intention was really for these patterns to be used somewhat individually. I even kind of imagined that you could cut the stencil apart and have these little stencils with these patterns. These are some of my most frequently used kinds of patterns and shapes: dashes and V's. You can see the V's here too. So whatever you do with your stencils, I hope you'll enjoy them. Balzer Design stencils for Crafters Workshop are available now.